Yes, that is me. Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, okay. So as we get started, I want you to explain sort of how we put this list together.
So this year it was a little bit different. We ended up having about 24 people send in their own individualized top 100. And we averaged that together. We used point systems. So, if you ranked Shohei Ohtani first, he was 100 points and so on. And then added up those point totals to get our final overall list. It was awesome. We worked with a ton of different departments to get some really cool graphics. Like people have seen baseball card GIFs. That is how I say it. I don't say GIFs that rotate. And it was an awesome project. We had a bunch of you guys do write-ups for each player and give predictions. So it turned out really nicely, but it is not without controversy, definitely.
Okay, what are the main points of controversy that you see in the list this year?
So one of the things we actually talked about too, kind of as an editor group, was Mike Trout not making the list. It blew some people away. He ended up coming in at 107, so just barely missed it. And he's probably the biggest faller from last year to this year's list. Last year, he was number 33. This year, he missed it at 107, so fell down quite a ways. And that was even with some of our colleagues ranking him as high as 67 and still didn't make that list.
Yeah, I remember last couple of years when I've taken that list around to players and asked for their audit, he was always the player that got the most reaction because I don't think he wasn't in the top 10 the last couple of years, if I remember correctly. And they would go, "What are you doing? It's Mike Trout. Like, he's an inner circle Hall of Famer. You guys are crazy. How could you possibly have him down that low?" I was really curious about, at the top of the list, how quickly we'd get to the pitchers. Tarek Skubal and Paul Skeens in particular, Garrett Crochet, some of the top guys. Jesse, when you saw the list, what did you think?
Well, I can't believe Garrett Crochet is the 8th best player in baseball. I'm just not there quite yet. So there were some interesting things about that list that was number one on my mind. But the other one, bigger picture, is how we incorporate injury to this whole thing.
Yeah.
If a guy was injured last season, how long was he injured? If he's had consecutive injury-prone years. So I don't quite know if Ronald Acuna Jr. should be so high, and I don't know if Yordan Alvarez should be so low. So those are sort of the things that went through my mind. Very difficult. I had to predict Bryce Harper's season when he was coming back from his elbow injury, and he did not like my prediction. But who knew how many games who knew how many games he was going to play? It's so hard to judge a guy coming off injury. Kyle Tucker's had 2 years where he's been injured. Healthy, he might have a 9-WAR season. Banged up, might be more like a 4-WAR season. So that's a difficult proposition. But I don't understand how Crochet's 8 and Yamamoto's 17, if we want to get back to the questions that I had about this list.
Okay, I got to follow up on what you said, though. Bryce Harper didn't like what the prediction for him. You sort of explain that, please.
Well, I mean, I don't want to go too deep into the nerdy stuff, but I was looking at past players that had missed time. And I remember Joe Madden saying this about Kyle Schwarber in 2016, famously, when he came back after a knee injury to make it to the World Series. He said, we might get a burst out of him, but if he was back for a full month, we'd see a drop-off, whether it be adrenaline wearing off or whatever the case may be. And I thought that about Bryce, that maybe we'd see a burst of home runs, but his batting average might plummet. The only problem was I made that prediction when he was supposed to come back in like August. He was back in May, and so his timing was not off. And Bryce chose the playoffs to remind me of that prediction, if we want to be honest. So, yeah, players read this stuff. And he was right. I was wrong. But I didn't know he was coming back so quickly. Testament to him and his recovery abilities.
Yeah, they hang on to that for sure. Players can hang on to that, and they'll remind you. I did something like that last year. Kike Hernandez was not happy about something that I had said during the year. So that is interesting. Jesse, give me a player who you felt like was too low. Because it was a player, I can tell you, I was like, are you kidding me? He's that low? But you can start.
Yeah, you're talking in a negative way, right? Like he should have been higher on the list.
Should have been higher, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Now I'm a little maybe Chicago biased, but Michael Busch is better than number 86 based on what he's done. And I'll give you just one reason for it. He's one of 6 left-handers in the history of the Cubs to hit 30 or more home runs in a single season. Now, he only hit 13 at home and 21 on the road, but doesn't matter. It still counts. Left-handers at Wrigley have a lot of trouble slugging. The wind, particularly in the last couple of years, has blown in off the lake in towards home plate. It messes with your head. It can mess with your head when you go on the road. But Michael Busch fought through all of that, hit 34 home runs, and played really good defense. Now, he didn't play against all left-handed pitching, so maybe his numbers are skewed a little bit. He wasn't facing them all, but he is this year. In any case, I think he's better than the 86th player on that list.
The guy who I was just like, wow. And Liz, you know this because you were working on these top 10 rankings at different positions with me. Geraldo Perdomo being the 32nd best player, but more specifically ranked 7th among shortstops. And when I did my list, I had him based on the feedback I got at 2nd. And so to have him behind a lot of the other guys, including Elly De La Cruz, that kind of blew my mind because Geraldo Perdomo has gotten results. Like, we're all excited about Elly De La Cruz and his potential, Jesse, but how in the world does he rank ahead of Geraldo Perdomo?
Liz?
No. I'm not putting that question to you, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that other players on that team, it's almost like the Michael Busch factor. There's other players that have a little bit more notoriety on that team. And when you're putting together a list, like, can we really have that many Diamondbacks or that many Cubs in the top 20, top 30, top 40? So the guy that's lesser known falls a little bit. I think that's probably the answer to that question.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to have some fun here. We're going to do a draft, our own draft with the 3 of us. And we'll go through, I don't know, we'll see 3 to 5 rounds. We'll see how quickly this goes. And just see how much that mirrors what we actually did in the top 100. Okay. So Liz, since you're our guest here today, we decided that you get the number 1 overall pick. Who you got?
I have Shohei Ohtani at number 1. I don't know how you can not have a two-way generational talent like him at number 1. And most of us felt that way, actually. All but 5 people had him number 1. The 5 people who didn't have him at number 1, do you guys care to guess who was number 1?
Wow, I can't believe some people didn't actually have him at number 1. That's a shock to me. I don't know how you feel, Jesse.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. The two-way thing puts it over the top easily.
He's getting value on both sides.
So
we had,
and it's a full season of pitching now rather than him starting in, mid-June last year and still ended up with a sub-3 ERA.
I would assume the other 5 were Judge.
Yes, other 5 were Judge.
We're all judging.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. All right, Jesse, you got the 2nd pick in this draft. Who would you get?
Well, I'm going to throw a Clayton Kershaw curveball at you.
I knew you would do this. I told Liz yesterday you would throw a curveball here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take Judge. I'm gonna take Skubal. I want my old school pitcher on the mound every 5 days, going 7, 8, 9 innings. I'm going pitcher over hitter. I'm going Tarek Skubal, the 2-time Cy Young winner.
You know, you're a Chicago guy, but I'm feeling a little bit like I'm the Bulls. Okay, you just took Sam Bowie with the number 2 pick. With all due respect to Tarek, and I'm taking Aaron Judge at the number 3 pick. I don't know how you pass on him. So Judge goes 3. Liz, you're up. Number 4.
Number 4. So I think this might be not what people would pick, but I would go Cal Raleigh at number 4.
Wow.
No disrespect to Bobby Witt Jr., but 60 home run season from a catcher last year. He played 159 games. He plays anywhere close to that again and is playing at the level that he did last year. It's incredible to me to hit that many home runs at that position.
He is number 7 on our top 100 list. And it's interesting. I actually had a friend ask me today when he looked at the USA lineup, how in the world is Cal Raleigh hitting 6th coming off last year? It speaks to the depth of that team. All right, Jesse, you got the 5th overall pick.
Well, I won't go with another curveball and take Skeens to have my rotation already. No, I won't do that. It's a tough call between Bobby Witt Jr. and Juan Soto. I mean, I love left-handers, like even more than right-handers in a sense, because they're just have so much more ability to slug because there's so much more right-handed pitching. Soto and Tucker, the two hitters that have as many walks as strikeouts with a 500 slug. Witt is enticing though, but I'm gonna go with Juan Soto as my first hitter on the board. Yeah,
man,
I'm gonna go with Juan Soto.
I'm feeling like another one dropped into my lap. Bobby Witt on our top 100 was number 3. Judge was number 2. I got the number 2 and the number 3. Thank you, Jesse. That is awesome.
You got it.
I appreciate
Sometimes
it. All right, Liz.
You got to go against the grain a little bit.
Yeah.
I told you, Liz. I told you he was going to do this.
You did. And I'm not going to go against the grain here. And what are we at? Number 7?
Yes.
I'm going to go number 7, Paul Skeens.
Yeah, I figured as much.
You just 23-year-old. Look at him go. 2 seasons below 2 ERA. Insane.
Absolutely dominant. All right, Jesse, who you got next?
I'm gonna maybe throw another curveball. I'm taking Jose Ramirez.
Yeah,
I think he's a little bit too low. I think he's a little bit too low on our list. The incredible consistency, and now put him in my lineup with the guys around him instead of the Guardians lineup. His numbers are going to jump even more. I'm taking Jose Ramirez switch hitter. So I took a lefty. I took a switch hitter. I kind of like this. I like this balance that I'm creating early on here.
All right, so here are now the players left on our top 100 board. Number 8, Garrett Crochet. Number 9, Julio Rodriguez. Number 10, Ronald Acuna Jr. I think Liz knows who I'm going with, though, because I've been talking about him with her for a while, and that would be
and he was going to be my pick.
Yeah, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who last year during the postseason went from being a star to being a superstar, inner circle, great player. Thank you again, guys. You guys are being so nice to me, despite the fact I'm picking in the number 3 spot. Okay, Liz, who you got with your 4th pick?
I think I'm going to go J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. I think that we haven't seen the best from him yet.
Yep.
He was much better in the second half last year, and I'm hoping that he continues that and really kind of finds his own this year. So he would be my pick.
I think that's a good one, and I agree with you. He was on our position rankings, number 1 center fielder in baseball.
Yep.
Jesse, your 4th and last pick in this exercise.
Okay, so I'm going to take a second pitcher. And again, a guy I thought should have been, I think Crochet and Yamamoto should be flipped, to be honest. After what he did in the World Series, I can't believe people voted Yamamoto post-World Series and he ends up at 17. Like, that's a vote a year ago, maybe. So I'm taking Yamamoto as my second pitcher in this draft.
Okay. I agree with you. I think Yamamoto should be ahead of Crochet on our list, but I also think Crochet is amazing. Leading the major leagues in strikeouts last year with 255, leading the American League in innings, and this is someone who I think he's going to continue to grow, and he is a beast. And we saw it last year. It felt like there were times when he was carrying the Red Sox. So, well, this was super fun. Sorry you guys lost and I won. Liz,
I actually agree with them. I actually agree with them.
All right, Liz. Thanks for joining us. It was fun doing this.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was so much fun.
Great job on the list.
Thank you. You too.